All the slides presented here belongs to their respective owner. I or the channel does not claim any rights over them. Hello everyone, I am Shahan Laik. I am a third year MBBS student and today I will discuss about a very important topic, and that is neurofibromatosis. So what is that? In this video, I will describe what is neurofibromatosis. Basically, you can see in the picture how all these small rounded structure, these are actually tumors. Basically, it is a benign tumor, but sometimes it can be malignant. Basically, neurofibromatosis is of two types, type 1 and type 2. I will discuss in details in this video what is type 1 and what is type 2, how can we distinguish type 1 from type 2, and all these tumors which generally involves the skin and the nerves. So learn about all this important disease, because this disease is very important for your NEET PG, AIIMS PG, and also other DNB examination. So thank you so much for watching this video. Continue watching this video, and if you like our content, do subscribe and share our video. Okay, now first thing first, what is neurofibromatosis? You have seen this disease, NF1, NF2, all these things. So what is that? What is the meaning of the term NF? Neurofibromatosis. Neuro, we can divide the term as neuro. Neuro means it is related with the nerves, and fibromatosis, which is related with the formation of fibromas. Now, basically, neurofibromatosis is a autosomal dominant disease. It is an autosomal dominant disease, and it involves the skin, and also it involves the nerves. So nerves and the skin are basically involved. So small tumors are formed, and all these tumors are generally benign. But sometimes these neurofibromas, which we call the tumors, are known as neurofibromas. So these tumors or these neurofibromas, sometimes it can be malignant. It can cause serious damage to the nerves. So it can compress the nerve, it can compress the tissue, it can damage the skin. So all these can result as a complication, but generally it is a benign tumor formation, small benign tumor formations throughout the body, and it can involve the skin and also the nerves. And it can be of two types, type 1 and type 2. Generally, the type 1 is more common and type 2 is less common. In type 1, the peripheral nerves are involved. The periphery of the body is involved. The peripheral nerves, the periphery of the body, all these are involved. But in case of the type 2, that is less common, and it involves the spinal cord and the brain. So it is central in nature, more central, type 2, and type 1 is less central and more peripheral. So type 1 peripheral, type 2 central. Always remember all these facts. Now basically it affects all neural crest cells. Now all the neural crest cells are affected. So examples of that is schwann cells, melanocytes, endoneurial fibroblasts. So all these cells, different kinds of cells, are affected. Basically, you remember what is neural crest cells. So all these cells migrate. In histology, you can understand what is neural crest cells. Basically, they have a role in formation of our nerves, formation of our nervous system, and these neural crest cells will be affected. Now, as the primitive neurons or the primitive nerve cells, the neural crest cells, are involved, so it includes the schwann cells. You know, the schwann cells that forms the myelin, and it remains along the axons of a neuron. And melanocytes also involved, like those cells which contains, these are cells which contains melanin, which contains the colorful pigments which make our skin color. So skin related melanocytes are involved, and nerve related schwann cells are involved. Endoneurial fibroblast cells, so fiber producing blast cells, that is fibroblast cells which are endoneurial, these are also involved. So basically all the neural crest cells are involved in neurofibromatosis. Now, why I am telling about the melanocytes? Why I am telling that melanocytes do not function properly in this disease? Because melanocytes abnormal functioning produce a kind of important symptom in this disease, and that is cafe au lait spots. So what is cafe au lait spots? So cafe came from the word coffee, and au lait means with, and late means milk. So coffee with milk, so that is known as cafe au lait. So coffee with milk. So you can remember when you mix coffee with milk, then how it looks. So basically that kind of spots appears on the body. I will show you the picture, don't worry about it. So why this basically cafe au lait spots appears on the body in neurofibromatosis? Because of the melanocyte abnormality, and because the melanocytes are abnormal, so a disordered skin pigmentations occurs. So basically hyperpigmentation occurs. Now let me show you the picture of cafe au lait spots. So that is actually like this, which you are seeing in the picture. So it is just like a hyperpigmentation where it is seen that basically disordered melanin, extra melanin has been deposited at certain parts. It may be on the trunk, basically on the trunk, but it can be on other parts of the body. So these can be one of the symptoms for neurofibromatosis. It can be also found in the pediatric population. You can see the girl and other pictures. Approximately half of the cases are due to the de novo mutation. What is the meaning of the term de novo mutation? All this neurofibromatosis is due to de novo mutation. That means due to new mutation that occurs that do not occurs age old, that occurs in a new kind of de novo means new, which is different from the old mutation. So it is a new mutation that is occurring, and no other affected family members can be seen. Sometimes the family members cannot be seen affected with this disease, and it affects both male and female equally. So both male and female are equally affected. It is not specific for male, or it is not specific for the females. Okay, now let us learn about the neurofibromatosis type 1 or NF type 1. So neurofibromatosis type 1 is also known as von Recklinghausen disease. Von Recklinghausen disease. Von Recklinghausen disease. So that is type 1, the first one. Remember, type 1, that is von Recklinghausen disease. And it is the most common form. Type 1 is the most common form, and generally it occurs due to mutation of which chromosome? Chromosome number 17. You can remember chromosome number 17, 1 7. Okay, chromosome number 17. And neurofibromatosis occurs in most type 1 occurs in most of the people, that is 90% of the people have neurofibromatosis type 1. Now, one of the important characteristics of NF type 1 is formation of optic glioma. So optic glioma means it is a tumor of the glial cells of the optic pathway generally. So this is the tumor of the optic nerve. So it is related with ophthalmology. So a ophthalmologist can identify with the help of MRI or other scan, by which he can understand that this is optic glioma. It is one of the feature of NF type 1. Now another feature is distinctive osseous lesions can be found. So bony lesions can be found, such as sphenoid dysplasia. So a kind of dysplasia that occurs in the sphenoid, or cortical thinning of the long bones. So the cortex of the long bones are thinned, are eroded. So you can get thinning of the cortex of the long bones, and sometimes with pseudoarthrosis also the patient can present. So all these are features of NF type 1. Okay, now let us discuss about the diagnostic criteria for NF type 1. So, what are the things that will make us diagnose that the person is having type 1 NF? So, first is cafe ou lait spots, which I show you. A, you can see the picture. A picture where you can see all these coffee in the milk, coffee with milk spots. And the next is neurofibromas. So neurofibromas are small tumors that are formed cutaneous and also on the nerves. So on the skin and the nerves, neurofibromas are formed. Next is plexiform neurofibroma. Now, what is plexiform, which is shown in the picture? Number B, plexiform neurofibroma. Plexiform neurofibroma is a collection of all the tumors. So, there are so many tumors which are collected together. They are attached together to form a huge plexiform, plexus-like formation. Because of the nerves are also related, so it is known as plexiform neurofibroma, which is a collection or a group of neurofibromas. Next, cutaneous neurofibromas, which I told you. Next is number C, which is below left side. You can see the axilla is shown. That is actually axillary freckling. So freckling of axilla, these small dotted structures, freckles that can be found on the axilla. So that is axillary freckles. And next is number D, that is optic glioma. You can see the radiology where you can find out it is optic glioma. And number E is Liss nodule, Lisch, Liss nodules. So what is Liss nodules? Basically it is found in the iris, where you can find these dotted structures, nodular lesions that can be found on the iris. And number F is sphenoid wing dysplasia. So dysplasia of the sphenoid and sometimes pseudoarthrosis are also noted. So all these are diagnostic criteria for neurofibromatosis type 1. I am telling once again: cafe ou lait spots, neurofibromas, and cutaneous neurofibromas, axillary freckling, optic gliomas, Liss nodules on the eye. Generally, these Liss nodules are found in the ophthalmic examination with the help of ophthalmoscope or with the help of the slit lamp examination. Next is sphenoid wing dysplasia or pseudoarthrosis. So all these, and sometimes you can see the pedigree chart in below, where it is shown that it can be transferred with the help of the first degree relative. So generally it is autosomal dominant, you know it. So all these features can be found in a person who is having neurofibromatosis type 1. Now, what is the significance of this picture? This picture is actually showing that all these neurofibromas, these small tumors which happen in different parts of the body, basically the peripheral nerves are involved. In type 1, I told you, type 1 is a peripheral nerves are involved, peripheral disease, and type 2 is a central disease. That is, type 2 involves the brain and the spinal cord. So you can distinguish type 1 from type 2 by type 1, the lesions, or type 1, the tumors, the neurofibromas that is found out is generally on the periphery, that is on the peripheral nerves are involved, and not the central lesions like brain, or generally the brain and the spinal cord are not involved. Exception is optic gliomas, but you know that optic glioma is found in type 1. So you can understand the peripheral lesions that can be the peripheral neurofibromas found in type 1. Now let us learn about the Liss nodules. Liss nodules, I told you, this is specifically very important for diagnosing type 1 neurofibromas, which I must describe it. And this has come in various examination like NEET PG, DNB, AIMS PG, and other examination. Liss nodule are basically found on the iris. These are iris hamartoma. Hamartoma means so many tissues are mixed together, hamartoma. So, and it is a pigmentous hamartoma. That means so many pigments are there, different types of pigments. Hamartomas, pigments. So pigmented hamartomas, nodular aggregation. So nodules, small, very small small nodular aggregation. So many things are aggregated together. What are the aggregation of dendritic melanocytes? So dendritic melanocytes has been aggregated together, that has come together affecting the iris, and this was first observed by Austrian ophthalmologist Carl Liss. From his name, from Carl Liss' name, the Liss nodule, Lisch, Liss nodule has come. Liss nodules are actually iris hamartoma. Iris hamartoma, that is actually small pigments like structure. These are iris hamartoma's pigmented structure. These are actually the collection of the dendritic melanocytes. So these are melanocytes, the pigment filled cells, which has come together and forming this iris hamartoma, which is known as Liss nodules. Don't worry, I will show you the picture in this video. Don't worry. Now this is the picture of Liss nodules. Liss nodules, I told you, that was observed by first an ophthalmologist Carl Liss, who was Austrian ophthalmologist, who actually observed these hamartomas, pigmented structures which are found on the iris, that is basically the curtain of the eye. So on the iris you can find out these hamartomas lesions, which are actually the that is known as Liss nodules. These are nodules. These are actually collection or aggregation of melanocytes, dendritic melanocytes. So these melanocytes are actually the melanin filled pigmented cells. So these cells has been collected and formed these dot like structures on the iris, you can see in the picture. So this is specifically known as Liss nodule, and one of the important characteristics of neurofibromatosis type 1. Now let us learn about the neurofibromatosis type 2. So how we can differentiate type 1 and type 2? I told you I will answer in this video. Type 1 is a peripheral disease. That is, it involves the nerves and the skins of the periphery, the fibromas, the small tumors, basically the benigns. So all these are formed on the peripheral nerves or peripheral nerve roots. But neurofibromatosis type 2 is basically related with the central nervous system, and you know central nervous system contains brain and spinal cord. So it is also known as neurofibromatosis type 2 is also known as central neurofibromatosis. The term central neurofibromatosis is associated with neurofibromatosis type 2. Is result from now neurofibromatosis type 2 NF2 is due to result of mutation of marlin, marlin. So it is due to mutation of marlin, also known as squamine or marlin. So it is due to mutation of squamine or marlin in chromosome 22. So which chromosome? 22. Remember which chromosome was involved in neurofibromatosis type 1, that is 17 chromosome, and in type 2, 22 chromosome. So this is the difference. Type 1 involved 17, type 2 involved 22. Type 1 was a peripheral disease, type 2 is a central disease. Type 1 you can find out Liss nodules, you can find out neurofibromas basically on the peripheral nerves, and here it is a aquastic disease. You will find out in this video only that neurofibromatosis type 2 is a aquastic disease. Basically it affects the hearing. The person gets a hearing loss in who is having neurofibromatosis type 2, and 22 chromosome is involved in type 2. Basically, you can remember a very important mnemonics for neurofibromatosis type 2, that is type 2. So you can double the 2 and 2. So it is found out in chromosome number 22. So you can remember like that. Neurofibromatosis type 2 found in chromosome number 22, and generally bilateral involvement can be found. So both side of the body, so that is also 2. Both side of the body can be found to be affected. Bilateral, all the bilateral lesion, basically the aquastic lesion. I told you the hearing problem. So I told you the brain and the spinal cord, the central nervous system are affected. So related with the brain, the aquastic problem, aquastic neuromas. So hearing loss, the person will be having tumors in the vestibulocochlear nerve or the 8th cranial nerve. So the person will be having 8th cranial nerve problem or vestibulocochlear nerve problem. So the person that is known as bilateral acoustic neuromas. Bilateral, that means both sides are affected. Acoustic means the hearing problem. Neuromas, acoustic means sound related. Acoustic term came from the sounds, the wave sound form, wave nature, that is acoustic. So acoustic neuroma means sound related, that is hearing related. So both the sides are involved, bilateral acoustic neuromas. So these are actually the tumors that is on the vestibulocochlear nerves or cranial nerve 8, and these are also known as schwannomas. So basically the NF2 is known as schwannomas. The schwann cells are involved, the schwann cells tumors are found. So hallmark of NF2 is hearing loss due to acoustic schwannoma. That is very, very important line. So if a patient come with neurofibromatosis and he is having hearing problem, acoustic schwannoma he is having, then he is having type 2. You can remember like that. So the hearing related problem will be in type 2. This is how you can differentiate between type 1 and type 2. The second important presentation of the neurofibromatosis type 2 is headache. Balance problem. The person will be also having balance problem. When the person is standing up, he will having problem in falling down. So balance problem. Sometimes the person will be having vertigo. That is, it will seem to the patient that everything is moving, and all these balance problem, hearing problem, headache, vertigo, sometimes nausea, vomiting can also involve due to the schwannomas, due to the schwannoma he was having due to NF2, involving the inner ear. The inner ear, you know, the ear is divided into 3 parts: the external ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. So inner ear will be affected. Facial weakness, and not only these things, the hearing problems will be accompanied by facial weakness. The person will be having facial weakness, paralysis due to involvement of the compression of the facial nerve. So facial nerve is also involved, along with the person is having hearing loss, the person is having headache, the person is having balance problem from the inner ear problem, the person is also having facial weakness, the person will be having paralysis due to involvement of the facial nerve, and sometimes the brain tumors. I told you NF2 is a central neurofibromatosis. As it is central neurofibromatosis, so brain tumors can be found, spinal tumors can be found, deafness, sometimes the person cannot hear anything, tinnitus. Sometimes, what is tinnitus? A ringing sound, a kind of ringing, something is ringing in the ears. So that can be found in case of these schwannomas. NF2 not only develops the bilateral acoustic neurofibromas, but also they are related with meningiomas. Sometimes meningiomas also develop. Meninges of the brains are involved. Ependymomas. Sometimes the ependyal cells, that also tumors can occur from there, or meninges of the brain can also have tumors. So meningiomas, ependymal cells can also have tumors, so ependymomas. So all these, the increase of risk of having meningiomas and also ependymomas occurs in NF2. So all these are central nervous system related. You see, you can remember that brain related, brain tumors, brain meninges, meningiomas, ependymal cells, ependymomas, and the acoustic hearing loss, bilateral acoustic problem. So all these are related with the central nervous system. So NF2 is known as central neurofibromatosis. Now let us discuss about schwannomatosis. Schwannomatosis is different thing. Schwannomatosis is mutation of both chromosome 17 and 22. Now you can remember NF1 is related with chromosome number 17 and NF2 is related with chromosome number 22. But in schwannomatosis, both 17 and 22 are involved. So schwannomatosis is due to the mutation of 17 and 22 both chromosome. Schwannomas developed on the cranial, spinal and peripheral nerve. So basically you can say schwannomatosis is a combination of NF1 and NF2. NF1 was a peripheral disease, that is most common disease, and NF2 was a central and less common. And combination of these two is schwannomatosis, where schwannomas are formed both on the cranial, spinal and peripheral nerves. So generally chronic pain, sometimes the pain lasts for long period of time due to schwannoma having in central nervous system, in peripheral nervous system, and there is sometimes numbness, tingling sensations, weakness, and 1/3 of the patients have segmental schwannomatosis. What is mean by that? What is the meaning of the term segmental schwannomatosis? Segmental schwannomatosis means schwannomas are limited to a particular part of the body, such as arm or leg or any other part like spine or other part where it is particularly present at that part. So 1/3 of the patient are found with segmental schwannomatosis, that is they are having this neurofibromatosis type 1 and type 2 combination, that is schwannomatosis in any particular part of the body. It may be arm, it may be leg or the spine. Now there is a difference between neurofibromatosis and schwannomatosis. Like in other forms of neurofibromatosis, schwannomas develop on the vestibular nerve. I told you in NF2 basically it is found on the vestibular nerves, but in case of this schwannomatosis, schwannomas do not develop on vestibular nerve. It do not develop. You can remember, schwannomas do not develop on vestibular nerves, and as a result loss of hearing is associated loss of hearing is not associated with schwannomatosis. Loss of hearing is not associated with schwannomatosis. So the person who is having schwannomatosis will not have hearing loss, but a person who is having NF2 will have hearing loss. I have already discussed. So that is the difference. No, if a patient says that the person is having hearing loss, then you can understand that person is having NF and that person is having NF2. But as in schwannomatosis, hearing loss cannot occur because these schwannomas cannot develop on vestibular nerves. Patients with schwannomatosis do not have learning disabilities related to the disorder. Now schwannomatosis patients do not have any learning disabilities. They can learn. So they do not have learning disabilities. That is also another point to remember. So we have discussed about NF1 and NF2, that is these are two vitals which are asked in the examinations also, but there are other NFs like NF type 3, type 4, type 5 which are not asked generally in any of the examinations, so we will not learn, but we just know that there are 5 types mainly of NF. The 1 and 2 are more important. 1 is peripheral and 2 is central, and 3, 4, 5 are also there. Now, do you know neurofibromatosis is considered to be under a huge family of disease, and that huge family of disease is known as phacomatosis. Phacomatosis. So phacomatosis means it is a huge neurocutaneous syndrome family. So it is a family of disease which contains neuronal and cutaneous. So this disease, neurocutaneous disease or neurocutaneous syndromes, involves the nerves and the skin. So this is a huge family, neurocutaneous syndrome family or phacomatosis, and neurofibromatosis is a part or a member of phacomatosis. The phacomatosis also contains other members. The other members of this huge family of neurocutaneous syndrome or phacomatosis are tuberous sclerosis, Sturge-Weber syndrome, von Hippel-Lindau's disease, ataxia telangiectasia. So all these, tuberous sclerosis, Sturge-Weber syndrome, von Hippel-Lindau disease, ataxia telangiectasia, all these are the members of phacomatoses. Basically, there is no particular treatment for neurofibromatosis. We need to manage the symptom and we need to manage the complication so that further complication do not occur in neurofibromatosis. Surgery may sometimes be needed for when the tumors compress the organs or other structures which are nearby the tumor. So sometimes the tumors, as it is a neurocutaneous tumor, so it compresses the nerves, it compresses the organs that is there in our body. So the surgery must be done for when the other structures which may be vital is compressed. So less than 10% of the people with having neurofibromatosis, they sometimes developed the cancerous growth. That means sometimes these benign form of tumors can be malignant. Sometimes it can spread, but it is very less than 10% or 10% people. In that case, we use chemotherapy. Now, case study in May 2011, a case was reported in UK that a 15 years old child who turned out to be having neurofibromatosis type 1 was actually misdiagnosed as being abused under the assumption that the mother is having Munchausen syndrome. You know Munchausen syndrome? Munchausen syndrome is a kind of particular syndrome in which it is a kind of psychiatric or mental disorder where the patient tries to create a disease, on a weak or a vulnerable person. Basically, the caregiver, the patient is the caregiver, and the person who must be looked after, the caregiver itself creates this disease. So, like for example, if there is a mother and a child is there, the mother is the caregiver, and the mother should give care to the little baby, but maybe the mother is creating a certain kind of disease in the child. So it's kind of a abuse also. It's kind of a child abuse also. So you can see generally how it was found. Basically, when the child was in the hospital, the child was gaining weight, but when the child went home, the child started losing weight and the child became thin and thin. And so the doctor thought that this is Munchausen syndrome, but actually it was not. The child was placed for foster care for 6 months and then returned to the parents after he was correctly diagnosed. So this is just a case study of neurofibromatosis type 1 which was misdiagnosed as Munchausen syndrome. Thank you so much for watching our video, and if you like our video, make a thumbs up and subscribe our channel for getting more contents like this, and please share our video to as many friends as you can so that more medicos can get help from this video. There are almost 200 plus videos in our channel which are free and for helping MBBS students in studies. And we have already crossed 650 plus subscribers in our YouTube channel, and we have 700 plus Studygram Instagram followers. So if you want to chat with me, then follow our Instagram page @medicoshahan. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you like this video, please subscribe.